boss tells me I needs his approval to call someone in on their day off, no matter what time it is. This happened around 20 years ago. Long, and really not the most vicious compliance, but it was satisfying. I have worked for the same company for nearly 30 years. It is a small beverage company that is filled with salesmen and weekend merchandisers to work the grocery stores. The sales team was 12 account managers who have either Friday, Saturday, or Sunday, Monday off. This required a team of 6 merchandisers to cover this time off and one lead position to help in cover time off for the team of 6. I was in the role of that lead position at the time this story happened. My boss, let's call him Ray, was one of the most difficult people in the world to deal with. The merchandisers were paid minimum wage for a very physical job that required a start time of 4:30 a.m., so it was difficult to keep good people. We had people call in sick or not show up all the time. On top of this, everyone that worked there would get yelled at on a daily basis. It really was a harsh work environment. One of the issues I faced in covering for the 6 merchandisers was when more than one person would call in sick. Our territory is large, so it was impossible to cover more than one route because of travel time. Some grocery stores were an hour away from each other, so not only did you need to start early, but you were never going to be able to work more than one route in a day. When 2 or more merchandisers called in, we would ask one of the account managers to work one of their days off to cover the routes. The account managers were paid salary, commission, so they were paid a flat dollar amount when they had to work a day off. My boss, Ray, would always yell at me when I would tell him that I needed to call someone in. His response always boiled down to, "Why are you bothering me with this? Just take care of it." One Sunday, I had 3 merchandisers call in. Remembering my most recent scream session with Ray, I decided on my own to call in 2 account managers and cover the 3rd route myself. The following day, Ray approached me and asked me to come into his office. He then, with spittle coming out of his mouth, yelled at me for over a minute about how I did not have the authority to authorize account managers to work, that I had overstepped my authority, and that going forward I was to call him ASAP when someone needed to come in. All of this was just some strange power trip, because he was never not going to approve the extra time. So this is what happened the very next weekend. That Saturday I had 2 people call in. It was 4:45 a.m. and I called Ray's house. The phone rang for a while and a lady answered the phone. It was Ray's wife. I asked her to speak with Ray. She then proceeded to yell at me on the phone for calling her that early in the morning. It was almost as rough at chewing as I had received from Ray. She then handed the phone to Ray. "Yeah? Or I need to call someone in to cover a route, okay," and then he hung up the phone. That following Monday I figured I was going to get another chewing. Ray called me over to him by the coffee, and very calmly whispered in my ear, almost shy like, yeah, you can make that call going forward, bringing people in. No need to call me anymore." I realized that Ray had got one of his own scream sessions from his wife, and #X2OOB. Small follow-up. As I said, I have been with this company a long time, and I eventually moved up above Ray and became his boss. He passed away a few years ago, and while he was always grumpy, I actually miss the old guy now. And #X2OOB. Follow-up. Just a follow-up. Thanks for the thumbs up and the awards. I wanted to tell 2 more small stories about Ray. The man could not handle stress at all, and if you ever ran into him outside work, he was a different person. In the late 90s I had my first child. Ray asked me to bring her by work so he could see her after we got out of the hospital. Work was near the hospital. I of course had spent countless hours complaining to my wife on how horrible he was. So on our way home from the hospital I pulled into work and went in to get Ray as my wife and kid waited in the car. He came out and proceeded to be the most gentle, loving human I have ever seen. He held my daughter, cooed at her, and told my wife how wonderful she had done. As we drove away, my wife basically said I was crazy thinking that old man was mean. I could not believe how different he was and thought maybe he was going to be nicer to me when I got back to work. He was not. Story 2. After I became the boss of the department, I moved Ray into a role that was not over anyone doing pricing. This helped his mood dramatically. I decided to bring the whole team on a weekend fishing trip. I was also going to go golfing for the first time soon, since it was almost a requirement since every store chain does golf tournaments. Everyone on the trip was trying to get me to drive golf balls over the river we were staying at. Ray was really into golf and he excitedly told me to take some swings with his club and balls. I told him I did not want to waste his balls, in which he replied loudly, "I got old balls." Which of course made everyone around us bust out laughing, including Ray after about 10 seconds of a confused look on his face. The follow-up of your story was really nice. He learned his lesson pretty quickly. It seems sorry to hear about his passing. I don't have time for this. Figure it out. You did it this way. What audacity. WHO, do you think you are thinking for yourself after I demanded you to do so? I had one of those. I left that job after a time. Do not wake the wife. I was hoping you were going to say that he wasn't your boss anymore. But yes, a nice little follow-up. It reminds me of an episode of Brooklyn 99. The police captain hates the councilwoman and they are both always trying to do something vindictive, undermining. The councilwoman is going to die, so her last FU is to tell everyone he is planning her funeral. He struggles with whether to make it a party or a nice respectful service. He eventually does the respectable service, but he has to speak and say something nice about her. He cannot bring himself to say anything nice, so he tells the truth. She was a worthy opponent and he will miss their ultimate game of chess. I forget how he put it, but it sounded sweet without him saying anything nice about her. Lol. Lol. His behavior was totally uncalled for, but I bet he caught a lot of shit from those employees and/or maybe even HR if those employees were calling HR. Because I know that if I was salaried and poor management resulted in me having to work extra hours for no more pay on my day off, I'd sure as shit be trying to choose someone out. Just goes to show how shit always rolls downhill. But the way you handled it is the best thing you could have done, and you got the best possible outcome. Nice. I had to call an IT guy out one weekend. I called his number, and I got this wife. She said, "Call his fucking girlfriend, because he isn't sleeping here anymore." Which was really surprising because the guy was so wimpy. I couldn't believe he had a girlfriend. I then had to call his boss and explain I could not get a hold of the IT guy, even though he was supposed to be on call. Screaming when belittling you, and whispering while giving you authority. That's power tripping. When we drove to stores and stocked drinks, there were certain bosses who would hurt vendors any way they could, by pouring their derision upon anything we did, exposing every weakness, however carefully hidden by the vendor. But in the company it was well known when they got home at night their fat and psychopathic wives would thrash them within inches of their lives. Now the question is red, blue, or green for the company? Sounds like a fun family they have there. Turned into a wholesome story in the end. Had me in the first half, not gonna lie. I was a Ray today, and on behalf of all of us, we appreciate you and thank you for allowing us to be a jerk and still be appreciated. I always like the grumpy ones. They seem more real. He probably was so grumpy at work because his wife yelled at him at home. I would have loved to have heard that early morning conversation. I love how his mistake, apology, whatever had to be on the down low. How his husband, how his wife. Lunch is over. Not the link I was looking for, but it's too funny not to. https youtube.be/7casdayjpsx reminds me of the sadistic schoolteacher in Pink Floyd's The Wall, who is in turn terrorized by his psychopathic wife when he gets home. He sounds like a bitter old fuck that took his wife's verbal abuse of him out on y'all. You're a good person to be able to actually miss him. He sounds like a piece of garbage to me from this short story, lol.
If you enjoyed this video, please check out our playlists full of similar content. Epic Haircast is like doom scrolling for your ears. Please like, share, and subscribe.